Hello, YouTube land. This is Brent Son coming to you from Lexington, Kentucky, the Bluegrass State. I have a story for you today coming from Charles. It's going to be fantastic. There's all kinds of awesome, crazy stuff, Bigfoot, Dogman, and other kind of encounters he has to share. Now, if anyone out there has something they would like to share on this show, you can contact me at brentonson@gmail.com. And if you would like to contribute, you can go to a link in the description at PayPal me and contribute to help with this show. And let's just go to our guest in progress. He's starting with a Dogman story. Something happened to him when he was a kid.
But now, we stayed in Roseland, Arkansas. That's about, you know where Blytheville is, don't you?
Kind of, yeah.
Yeah, well, it's in between Manila and Blytheville. So it'd be actually going west, Arkansas.
Right. Okay.
And I was about, I must say about 12 years old at the time.
Right.
And we stayed in this kind of a regular looking country house. It was located kind of like about 5 miles off the highway. Little country town, man. You drive right through, you miss it, you know.
Right.
Probably, 100 people there or something. And I'm laying in the bed, and I got both my brothers there in the bed with me. We all sleep in one bed because we go over our aunt's house. And, man, I remember hearing something. So I kind of turned my head and looked over there. And what it looked like, what I thought it was at first was somebody bouncing a big ball. And they bounced it against the wall. You know, you imagine a dark house and then the moon's lit and you get a little light coming in there. But what I actually was seeing was this thing crawl across the floor. And I was looking at it with muscle mass, you know, and the thing was gray. So when the light hit it, it almost like it illuminated it, you know what I'm saying?
Right. Wow.
So I'm thinking like, man, what is this thing, you know? And it gets right at the bottom of the bed, you know, and I'm laying on my back, you know, and I'm looking dead at this thing. And I'm thinking, okay, I'm sleepy, you know, it may not be nothing, it might just be a bad dream or something. No sooner than I thought that this thing kind of raises up, you know, and it got my attention, you know, and he could see me, man. I mean, he could see my eyes or something. So I'm like, oh, man, what am I going to do? What is this thing, you know? And so about 5 more minutes, he even got taller. Now he's on just 2 paws or feet, whatever you call it. And he's just standing there looking dead at me, man. This thing is so tall, dude. I'm thinking maybe 6.5, 7 foot. I mean, just huge, man, compared to what I was at that age, you know.
Right.
And I remember seeing it looked like a dog. It looked like a half dog and a half man.
Wow.
So, man, I'm sitting there in the bed shaking. I'm starting to sweat now. And I just don't know what to do. I'm so scared, man. I'm so scared to even scream. And this thing just, man, he reared his lips up and he's showing me these canines, his teeth. And I'm like, oh, man. And dude, I'm trying to say a prayer, anything. But, man, I was just frozen. You know, this thing just, I mean, just pure terror, man. Just at the worst way possible, you know, looking at this thing. And so what I did, reached down, grabbed the cover, and I remember pulling over my head. And old country folks, they make you some quilts, you know, homemade quilts. You
Right.
know, and you put it over your head, and you can still see this thing, you know, because the holes in it, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And I could still see this thing, man. I'm like, oh, God, man. I mean, Now I'm soaking sweat, you know. I'm sitting there trembling, man, my heart just beating, you know. And finally, that thing reaches over, and it looks like a handle of some sort. It picks up, and it's a huge axe. I'll never forget it. It's a huge axe. And man, he brought that thing around and swung it, you know, brought it behind his shoulders and brought that thing down on top of me.
Who did this now?
And that thing, that creature, the dog type thing.
He had
And
who had the bat?
it was him. He did. It was an axe. That's what it was. I thought it was just a handle or something, you know, like a club, but it was actually an axe.
Oh, he had an axe. The Dogman had an axe?
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
Gosh.
Yeah.
And what did he hit with it?
No, he brought the axe down. We're going to bring it down on top of me, top of my head.
Right.
And just that instant, man, when he started coming down with that thing, my body just took over. And I remember just shouting, just screaming, you know, yelling. And when I did that, man, this thing stopped and it just went backwards. It just walked backwards. But when it walked backwards, it was like it just disappeared into the darkness, you know. And I remember my folks getting up, man. They turned the lights on and everything. You all right? You all right? And I'm like, man, God, what was that?
Oh,
I'm 43 years old. And I'm still thinking maybe, did I actually see what I seen? And I remember your show, you were talking about this Dogman creature. And I'm thinking, man, I wonder if that's the same thing that I saw, you know. And I started looking at pictures of it. And, man, it just made the hair stand up on my arm and stuff, man. I was just like, God, that was it.
Yeah, you know, I mean, there's been a few stories that I've had where the creature has been in the house, you know, grabbing a hold of people, you know, like in their room and stuff like that, or a few cases where something transformed into the Dogman creature. Yeah, and then there's the cases that are out in the woods. But yeah, the Dogman thing, it seems paranormal to me. You know, there's really not much of an explanation. But that doesn't mean it's not physical. I think it's a physical creature, but I think that it's also supernatural.
Supernatural, also.
Yeah,
that's kind of what I got out of it. But man, this was real, you know.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
And
it doesn't mean that it's not physical, because I've been grabbed by a few different types of creatures that you would think weren't real, but they were solid enough to grab me, you know.
Now, my first thing that I ever come across, it's still in Arkansas, but different town, Marie, Arkansas. And slightly larger, maybe just 600 people. But anyway, I was younger. Actually, I was around about 9 years old, and I'll never forget it. At night, we would all go to sleep. And I remember hearing these voices, hearing people walk in the house, you know. And I started complaining about it to my folks, to my parents, you know. They said, they kind of laugh at me, you know, and say, oh, you just had a bad dream, you do this, that, and all this, you know. And I'm like, no, I'm hearing this, you know.
All right.
So one night, it had to be about 1 o'clock, 12 or 1, but man, I woke up and I had to use the bathroom real bad. I had to pee. But I didn't want to go in there because that's where I was hearing the noises. You know, it's called hearing the noise. So I just waited. I couldn't hold it much longer. So I went in the bathroom. Now, when I started walking toward the bathroom, I noticed there's a light on, but it's a weird type of light, you know. And I'm like, well, cool, somebody in here, you know. And so, you know, I'm walking toward the light, and I got my hand kind of over top of my eyes so the light wouldn't kind of blind me. And I see this person in there. But I know this is weird, but it looked like my height, my age, everything. I mean, real skinny, big head, you know, slightly big head.
Right.
And I said, well, maybe this is my brother in here. So I'm feeling real confident about going in there, right? But I noticed when I got in there, man, I started using the bathroom and I started talking. And I looked at this thing and I noticed it had my favorite sweater on that I would wear. And I'm thinking like, oh man, I know he ain't my brother got my sweater on. You know, and I really looked at that sweater and this thing standing beside me. But I'm not seeing any seams, no buttons, no folds. So I'm like, how the world did he get this thing on? But when I got to looking at it real close, in the skin, man, we got this, went to Jamaica a couple of years ago, and we went about these dolls that they make out of wood, and they put glass around outside of it. It's like broken glass. I mean, it won't cut you anything, and they glue it, but it looks like a reflective type. But if you look at this thing's skin, it look like you could see, like, bubbles, like you pour a Coke, and bubbles rise to the top or something like that. But I could see the light. I mean, I could see moving things in it, in his body, where his hands were. And man, I'm thinking, this ain't my brother. Who is this? And I looked dead at this thing in the face, man. And, oh man, I'm talking, dude, he had no eyes. It was just dark. Big head, real skinny. So I took off running. And I remember trying not to fall. And I'm running in my room. But I could have easily ran over to the next room where my parents were. But man, all I wanted to do was just get out of that situation. So I jumped in my bed. I pulled the cover over top of my head, you know, for trying to get safe. And no sooner than I did that, man, I felt these hands. I mean, they wasn't nice. I mean, just went across my neck and pinned, actually pulled me up against the bedboard. I mean, socked me up. And I could feel the hands, this thing holding me down in this bed. And I'm like, oh, man, what's going to happen now? And I look up and I see this thing, that same thing I saw in the bathroom is coming. I mean, it turned the corner, it's coming in my room. And I'm thinking, why is this thing coming after me, you know? And I'm being held down from the back, I mean the front, but I can't see nobody. It's like they went through the bedboard and they was holding me up against it. And this thing, man, walked through the bed. And I never forget, when it walked through the bed, it took his hand and it was trying to reach or trying to get in me or something. But man, the slightest touch of it, that thing's finger, when it touched me in the chest, it felt like as though my chest got pierced by a giant icicle. I mean, something so cold and painful.
Wow.
And when it did, it was like my body exploded, man. And I remember falling. I'm sorry?
Yeah, well, go ahead and finish telling the story. No.
And I remember falling, like they just dropped me. They let me go. And I fell in the bed. And the cover was all outside the bed because they ripped the covers off me. And man, I'm just sitting there like shocked, like what in the world just happened? I grabbed the cover, and I pulled it on top of my head, went back to sleep. So next morning, I told my mom, but they got to a point where I think they was hearing noises too, but they didn't want to admit to it. So they one day they just told me, from now on, don't talk about it. And I'm like, so what? I supposed to hear these things, see this thing? But after that, Brent, after that incident, I could see them, I could hear them. I mean, man, it was so awful. And the next time I saw them, they wasn't this grayish, greenish type thing. They was real dark, big red eyes, had horns.
Oh.
And they just, yeah. And I would be going to that bathroom every night, man, to pee. And they'd be in there. And I'm thinking, oh, God, am I seeing what I'm seeing? And they were different. But I know that was them. And one night, and this is what's really weird. I get up, and I know I had to use bathrooms, same routine. And I'm thinking, so what are they going to do to me now, or what am I going to see? So I walked in the bathroom, toward the bathroom, and I saw them. They was at the table, just staring at me. And now I got so used to this, I would walk right past them, man, go to that bathroom. But this time I heard this like electrical noise off in the corner in the front area part of the house go like that. And I'm like, what is that? And I noticed there's this lady sitting down. I could see it from the back. So, I didn't want to go towards them things again back that way, so I was going to go over and see what this was. And then I walked around, and this woman sitting there, man, real dark. I'm talking real dark. Thing had wings. I know it sounds weird, crazy, but what I saw was an angel.
Okay.
And man, I crawled up in her lap, just hugging her. But I feel safe, in there now. But I could still see those things off in the corner. I could still see them. They were staring at me. But I wasn't scared no more. And man, I just couldn't believe I was actually touching this thing, what this thing was. And I was sitting there, man. I would grab the wings and, like a bird, man, rub my hand across it. I just couldn't believe it. And I remember thinking, okay, I'm not never going to wake up. This morning going to come and everybody going to believe me now because I'm not letting this thing go. That's what I thought. No sooner I thought that, man, I woke up, I was on that couch by myself, man. I woke up and like, oh, man, no, she gone. I'm like, oh, man, there goes my proof, But, I was able to see and hear. Man, I remember in the house at night hearing these voices. And, man, what they were doing was keeping me up all night. And they just terrorizing me with these voices they talk. And it got so bad one night, man, they finally told me, they said, look, if you do this favor for us, we'll let you sleep. We'll leave you alone. And I'm thinking, well, what do y'all want me to do? Man, they want me to kill everybody in the house.
They're asking you to do what now?
Kill everybody in the house.
Oh, and they'll leave you alone. Wow.
Yeah, they leave me alone.
Problems would be a lot worse then, though. You won't be in the house at all. Won't even be in the house no more. You'll be there alone.
I know, man, it sounds weird. I'm serious, man.
That's not a good deal at all, It's like, shoot, fire.
No.
Kill everybody in the house, and you won't be in the house either. You'll be in jail. And
right.
and or
Now I
juvie, or
remember growing.
juvenile or whatever.
Mm-hmm. Now I remember, like, when I was a teenager, man, we had guns, man, 12 gauge, 20 gauge, 22s, you in Kentucky. And I always grew up thinking that, this Bigfoot was just a hermit, more or less, a person that just lived in the woods. I never thought that it would be like a half ape or half man. Wasn't no internet then, you look up and see. But I always thought what we was passed down was they were just people. I know that sounds weird, but I guess you get that from country people or Indian or whatever. They think these people just people,
Yeah.
Man, I was gonna get off the school bus over my aunt's house, and I was gonna walk down this bow, this long ditch, this little river part, and hopefully I was gonna catch two silhouettes or this duck, and I was gonna shoot them, And I had 20 gauge double barrel, single shot, double barrel. But anyway, I got off school over there, which I had left my gun over there, and so I got my gun, went walking down the gravel road, walking towards my house. Now my house is around about 7 miles from their house. So it's going to take me a while, especially if I walked along that field, that ditch bank, right? So it was already 6 o'clock. So now it started getting a little dark. And I'm walking. I always felt safe in the woods, Just another, thing, like just a little being out there. And I got this feeling, man, some just watching me. Thinking, man, what the hell? Who could be just playing, watching me if I got a gun, And what I would do, I would run up the bank, went around this curve. So whatever was behind me, they couldn't see me once I got out in front. So I would get up out in front where it would turn off at. And I would run up there and get on the other side where the field at, get in the field and lay down and see what's following me, see if I could catch what's following me. Man, I couldn't find nobody to do. There was nothing there. I know something was just watching me, I just didn't feel right.
Right.
So it started getting dark, started getting dusk then, by then. And I had a little flashlight with me. So, man, I'm thinking, now my sixth sense kicked me, telling me to go home. My other sense, hey, just run home, dude, just go home. And I'm thinking, no, I came all the way this far, let me go just a little more, And so, man, I finally see silhouettes of these two ducks. Man, I'm like, oh, yeah, it's on now. So I got closer. It was a tree right there in front of them. So I got closer, kneeled down in there, and I shot, boom. Instantly killed that one, but the other one took off, and it turned around and was going to land because the other one was still laying in the water. And I shot both of them, right? So I remember something didn't feel like something was following me. So what I did, I ejected both the shells, and I put 2 shells back in there. Now, what I was shooting was number 8 shots. You know anything about that? Hell, I was lucky to kill a duck with it,
Yeah. Right.
Man, I'm thinking, okay, if it's a dog, if it's something like a bear or something, whatever, I'm going to shoot at the soft tissue like in the nose or the eyes.
Yeah.
But I'm starting to hear this weird huffing noise, man. Something I ain't never heard in my life before, dude. It almost sounded like a horse was running up on me, breathing. You know how they do that, huff like that. And I'm hearing this, like, what was this? And, man, I'm thinking, hold on, man, I turned around with my gun pointing in that direction, right? And it's dusk now, pretty dark, getting dark. And I'm like, man, what is this noise? As it got closer, it actually sounded like a retarded ape or backwards. An ape trying to sound like they were retarded or something. That's what I got out of it. And I'm like, man, what is this dang, it's just getting so loud. Man, it hit me with this sound, Brent. For a minute, I didn't even know where I was, dude. And so I'm hearing this thing come up on me, and I gotta react real quick. And I know I got these number 8 shots in there. But what got me was the ground started shaking. I know it sounds weird, but I could feel the ground shake. When this thing would run up on me, I could hear the footsteps. I could feel the ground shake underneath me.
Right.
So I knew I had no chance whatsoever shooting this thing actually, getting away. And man, I bowed my head. This is something I would never do anyway, but man, I bowed my head and just put my hand over top of my head until that thing ran past me. Which the message that I got from it was, it just wanted to pop my head, just pull my head off my neck, and it just, God, awful, evil. And when I felt that ground shook, man, it was like something short-circuit my brain, dude. I don't even know how long I was in that position, but I was in there a while. And I stayed kneeling down till I didn't hear anything else, no more. And I finally came up, and I ran all the way home, running, turning around in a circle, make sure wasn't nothing chasing me. But that night, after that, I never went back in the woods no more. Never even went fishing no more. Especially hunting. I mean, it just took that weight, that security that I had. When I would be out there, it was gone. Because I knew that thing, whatever it was, it could have killed me.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Yeah, you wasn't hurting it with any 20 gauge or anything.
No, that's number 8 shot.
Yeah, when I lived down in Texas, I lived on the edge of this wildlife refuge, and I was maybe 17 years old, something like that. And we would sometimes hitchhike to town, and go get some cigarette and try to get some beer and stuff like that. Come back to our shop out on the edge of way out in the country, on the edge of the wildlife refuge in Sadler. This was in Sadler, Texas. And
okay.
And but there was these, a lot of fields, and there was a lot of woods too. But as we were going through these big grass fields, it kind of reminds me of the Grassman thing, because the Bigfoots up in Ohio and stuff, they can go through fields, and most people would look and say, "Oh, there's nowhere to hide." Well, they just get down low.
Right.
They get down low. They can lay down even if the field is mowed or something, and it look like a pile of grass, things like that. But I remember several times we were walking. We had gotten by an area where there was, cows, and we got over the fence and everything. And we're like, wow, okay, we're cool now. We ain't gonna get run over by the bull or something. And we're walking through another big area that's grass fields, but there's no animals, supposedly, cows and stuff in this area. But every once in a while, we were getting like close to the area where the woods are, and I would feel something running up on us. You could hear it like thud, 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 running up on you, and it would freak me out, and I would take off running, and my friend would be like, take off running, that was with me, and he's like, dude, why'd you take off running? It's like, man, I felt something running up on us, And it makes me wonder now, like, what the heck was that? Because I know something was running up on us, and that happened probably, I bet you 10 times. It was like something was running up on us, and it would drop to where you couldn't see it, but it was close, and you could feel it coming up on you, and you could hear it,
Man.
And I don't like when someone tries to tell you out your imagination. I've never been walking in a field
Right.
before.
Oh, man. Yeah.
Anywhere else in the world that I've lived, I've never been walking in a grass field and had something feel like it was thrown up on me. So, no, I believe you, man. You know, very, very interesting stuff for sure.
Yeah. I got one more that's recent, kind of recent. When I was in Bible, and I worked at a painter. It was my first pretty much industrial job. I'd get off work, I'd be dead tired. And I mean, we stayed in this apartment. And I would get off, and what I would do, man, I would open up the front door, I would lock the screen door, leave the front door open. You know, let a little air in there, and I just lay out on the couch, and I would doze off about an hour or two, get up. But I noticed, man, something weird would happen in our apartment even before that. Because, man, I would be woke to the sound of wind, and I would get up, and I would notice the front door be open and the back door be open. I'm talking wide open, dude. It's like somebody walked right through the house. And so it was freaking me out because, you know, I had got my gun and everything. I'm like, what is this? So I'm thinking my girlfriend probably out cheating on me or something, and you know, she leaving the door open or whatever, or she letting whoever in here. So I confronted her about it. She said, "You crazy? Ain't nobody come over here, you know." I'm like, "Okay, you're right." You know, that day I got off work, man, and I came in the house, opened the door, and unlocked that screen door again. Man, I laid out on the couch, and I'm falling asleep, man, just tired, real tired, you know. And I dozed off, and I could feel this person. They sat down on my feet. You know, I'm thinking, oh, man, why is she messing with me? She come off, ain't said nothing, just come sitting on me, you know. And so a few seconds went by. She get up, and she sat down on the back of my knee. I'm thinking, all right, you know, and I said this out loud. I said, if you get up, jump on me again, I'm just going to get up and knock you out, you know, trying to get her to stop. And man, no sooner than I said that, she got up and put her knee, I feel all of it, dude, in my back. And man, I jumped up off that couch, man. I'm like, okay, that hurt. But Brent, there was nobody in there. So I sat up, and I'm like, man, I am tripping. So I looked at the door, and the screen door still locked. And I'm like, man, somebody just sat on me, and I know it. I leaned back on the couch. Now I'm sitting up, and I leaned back on the couch. And I looked to the right of me, and there's this woman standing there with this purple dress on. And I noticed something real odd about it because she had on no shoes. That's the fact she was standing right there, right next to me in my apartment. But man, Brett, the way she ran, oh God, she ran like the wind. I never seen nobody run that fast. And so that right there freaked me out though. So I actually thought that it was some kind of supernatural thing, but it was like me looking at a person in the house, you know. But the way she moved, I knew could no person run that fast. And she ran the room, and I went right after, man. There was nobody in the house.
Right. What was the, did she have like hair like all the way around, like her face covered and everything?
No, I didn't. Like, what part I saw of her was pretty much her shoulder down. When I saw that part where her feet, that was it. She was so fast, you know, my eyes just pretty much glued to there. I didn't see her face, but I got to playing cards with these people around the corner a week later. And the girls was in there, and they was talking to me. They was like, hey, you that guy stay around the apartment over there. I said, yeah, I stay over there. And she said, oh, okay, yeah. She said, I said, well, how do you know? You didn't check me out? She said, no. She said, my auntie used to stay over there. And I said, yeah. And I started putting two and two together. I'm thinking, wait a minute now. I'm having these carrots, this woman leaving the door open, not only side on me. So I asked her, I said, is she dead? She said, yeah, she dead. How you know? You go to the funeral? I said, no. And I asked her, I said, she have on a purple dress when y'all buried her? She said, yeah. How you know? You know, I'm thinking, oh, man, I got to get the hell away from there. You know?
Yeah.
I always wondered about that, too, man, when people, you know, I always hear, like, older people say that, well, they can't hurt you. You know, they can't touch you or hurt you. Man, in my case, they did. You know what I'm saying? And I can feel all of it, you know.
Oh, yeah.
But I guess it's different, you know.
Yeah, I think you're having a lot of paranormal kind of experiences. Now, the Bigfoot stuff, possibly even the Dogman stuff is more physical, but even the angelic stuff, I need to make some more videos and kind of tell kind of what kind of bodies each of these type of entities have.
Yeah.
Now,
and you know what?
the reason
I can draw too.
I think that the thing that had its knee in your back and stuff like that, I really don't think those are passed on people. I think that those are people. Those are something making themselves appear like those people. They're pretending like they're ghosts. You know what I'm saying?
Oh man, that's scary, man.
Yeah, because they're not really past. I don't think that they're people that are dead, because the dead really aren't able to come.
They don't come back, right? Yeah. They don't come back.
Yeah. So, from all the research that I've done over time, I cover these things from a biblical worldview and what have you. It seems to me that there are entities that are interested in pretending like people don't go on to where they're supposed to go when they die. Because if you can convince someone that you didn't go to hell, then you can make someone not fear hell. You know what I'm saying? Or if you
or believe hell is real.
But if you're a saved person and you're absent from the body, you're present with the Lord. And, Jesus even told a story about a person who died and then another person who died. And they went, one of them went to Abraham's bosom and one of them went to hell. They didn't wander around the earth. One of them wished they could. No. But that was before Jesus had died on the cross. So the person who was in Abraham's bosom, when the Bible talks about that Jesus first went into the innermost parts of the earth and then he ascended on high, led captivity captive, and gave gifts unto men. So he went down into the innermost parts of the earth where hell was, but there was also, it was partitioned off. And that's why they called it Abraham's bosom, because a bosom of a garment, it wasn't like Abraham's bosom like his breast. It was talking about Abraham's bosom was a pocket in a garment. That had multiple parts, so there was more than one section of a bosom of a garment. So when you went into Abraham's bosom, you went to the good part. But when Jesus went down into the innermost parts of earth, he led those people out. So there's no people going into that area that are going to go to heaven, or so to speak.
Right.
Only people that are going to end up into the lake of fire and stuff like that are going to go into the innermost parts of the earth now, to be reserved unto judgment. I just don't see the demonic entities, the fallen angels and stuff like that, letting someone roam around messing with people. As soon as you die, if they've tricked you, they're going to drag you straight to hell. And I even have an interview with a guy who accidentally hung himself when he was in the Marines. They were joking around and stuff.
Oh, man.
And a 12-foot demon snatched him up, and he was dragging this dude to hell. And he said, man, there was no hope. You can believe that. It's like you can go check it out, on the channel. But he tells the story in detail, and there wasn't going to be no roaming around the planet. You know what I'm saying?
Right, no roaming around. No.
You might
Free
roam
time,
around.
huh?
It might be for a few minutes. You might roam around.
Right.
But they're going to come snatch you up, and it's over.
Man.
So that's very interesting, man. It sounds like God's had a lot of mercy on you, buddy.
Man, tell me about it. Tell me about it.
He's
Man.
kept you from dying a lot of times from some crazy stuff there.
Man, tell me about it. That thing, man, ran up on me that night. That really put a stop to me going out feeling safe. Man, I'm telling you, I'm still jumpy over that.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
you had at one point like these angels show up. You said.
Yeah. And them things were there, but they couldn't get no closer to me. I wasn't scared. I was standing looking at them. They couldn't go nowhere, get no closer to me.
Well, it's kind of interesting how they started out looking like one thing, and then the more you seen them, they started looking more like what they are.
What they are, right?
Yeah, and I've heard that before too in
the
alien abduction scenarios where these things would show up looking like one type of alien or something, but eventually they would show up looking like reptiles or kind of like or whatever else they would look, and terrorize these people. They would have hauntings in their house, kind of stuff like dishes flying around, stuff like that. Almost everyone I've ever known of that has had alien abduction scenarios going on have also haunting type stuff in their home.
Really?
Yeah, and they typically don't want to tell you about that part, but it's almost as if the same people that run haunted houses,
it's like a haunting, yeah.
The same people that run the haunted houses run the UFOs, So that should be a little bit of red flag, You know what I'm saying?
Right. That's interesting, yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe the whole thing are fallen angels,
I'm telling you.
I've heard that too. Yeah.
And
what do you think then Bigfoot? I'm sorry, go ahead.
No, you've the Bigfoot I think are Nephilim. I think they're they're physical creatures that live in the woods, but they're just the same as the Nephilim were. In the Bible, David killed one time. His name was Goliath. I think there's different types. There's different types. This hairy type, I think, could be directly descended from, I believe, Cain. I think the mark that Cain had put on him, Cain was sentenced to be out away from people. So
you're right, he was.
Right.
You're right, he was.
In case he ran into people, God put some kind of mark
on him. They
would
know.
That would make him terrifying, and people wouldn't kill him. So it seems
that makes sense, though.
Yeah, and all the daughters of Cain were the ones that intermixed with the fallen angels, and I believe even Cain himself would have eventually, had his children. That if he went on with his wife or whatever, he would have still had children, and I think they end up with this mark that Cain had, and I think it was this hairy. I think it was this hairy part. If you look at one of the verses in Isaiah, it talks about the satyr who lives out in the wilderness. The word satyr in the Hebrew actually means hairy.
Right. Yeah, I ran across it. Yep.
Yeah, and then it talks about the screech owl, and people have these UFO experiences, see owls sometimes. It talks about doleful creatures. And
Uh-huh.
a lot of times, you know, in the same videos that I have that talk about these Bigfoot creatures, sometimes people have these experiences with these little tiny creatures that will have little bitty
Huh.
feet, you know, like the
Huh.
little people and things like that. So I think
Really?
there's lots of different things we don't really know exactly what the heck they are, but I think there's doleful creatures. There's all kinds of different creatures that live out in the wilderness that we necessarily are not proving that
Uh-huh.
exist, and I don't know if we would ever be able to prove it because I don't think God will allow it.
Right.
Other than if you just believe it, you know what I'm saying?
Uh-huh.
There's a part of
So that's why you think the government keeps it so hush hush.
yeah, and plus I
You
think
know.
that if you know there's people that believe it, you don't need proof, you know
Right.
Bigfoot's out
Right.
there, man.
You believe
I
it?
mean,
Yeah. You know.
I've had an encounter myself,
Right.
man. I don't need nobody to prove it to me. I know it. There's more and more people that just know it.
Right. You're exactly right.
Yeah, and
You're right, man.
especially when they listen to your stories, when people come forward and they tell their stories, you know, there's a lot of people that believe. Hey, it's like, hey, man, there's something out there, and there is,
Right.
and there's not.
Right.
It's not that hard for them to stay hid. They're really good at it, and
Right.
all they got to do
Because
is
they
just
didn't.
stand still.
We didn't know that the silverbacks was even. You know, that was even real to what 1940s or 50s. They
Yeah,
just
it was.
found out about the silverback, and they've
Yeah,
been there.
it was fairly recent times.
You
Yeah,
know.
there's been several other
Right.
animals that have been even more recent. Even
Oh
some
man.
creatures they said that were extinct 2 million years ago. They're still out there, like the coelacanth and stuff. And
You're right. The silver. Yeah. Yeah.
yeah, so it's like, man, you can't
Man.
believe what science tells you. There's
Right.
these things are out there, and I think that even Nessie and stuff like that, they're just remnants of
Right.
things that survived the flood, and because they're water creatures, you can't hardly kill a dinosaur, plesiosaur, or whatever with a flood.
Right. Right.
It's
You're
gonna
right.
swim,
You have to exterminate them. That has to be biblical to get rid of them. You're
right.
right.
And so there's all kinds of creatures, and then we have the fallen angelic stuff, like it seems to me that you've encountered some of those, and
Uh-huh.
I think even that Dogman creature is something similar to a fallen angelic creature, and the reason I think that is there's been people who have been in the occult that summons
Oh.
demons, and they
Yeah.
show up and they look like a werewolf. They look like this dog
Oh
creature.
man.
So if that's a fallen
Man,
angel,
golly.
yeah. So if they were
Right.
to
Yeah.
interbreed with daughters of men somehow, then there might be some types that live in the forest that are part human and part,
Right.
you know, so they would
Yeah.
have some canine-like features, and that's where you get your werewolf stuff. I think it's a little less common than the Bigfoot thing, but there's a lot of dogman reports out there. People just are scared to talk about that. It just sounds so crazy, but
Yeah,
they
that's what
do
I was
encounter them.
thinking. I didn't even want to talk about it till I saw your show, and I'm like, oh man, you know, yeah,
You
that's
know,
weird, man. Especially like you said, you wouldn't if you don't see it. It's kind of hard to believe. You think a dog
yeah,
type person would be, real, but hey, I saw it.
man. Listen.
Yeah.
I had a guy who is a federal lead investigator agent
Mm.
who came on.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, he came on the
Oh
story
man.
when he was a sheriff. He, I can't really say what
Uh huh.
agency he works for because I don't want to give him away or none. But
Yeah.
when he was a sheriff, he got an animal disturbance call, and he went out there and he popped the trunk and he got a shotgun and he grabbed the
Uh huh.
little plastic flashlight at the time they had that charges inside the cruiser. He grabbed that and he went
Uh
out there and he flipped that light on. He was shining it along the edge of the woods there by this trailer house where he got this a call from, where he was a sheriff. He went out in the country some. He was shining it along, and he all of a sudden he shined it right on upright walking dog man, you know.
Oh man.
And he said this thing didn't even look. He said it didn't look at me. He said it did not even care that I was there. He knew. He said it knew I was there.
Yeah.
But it was like he just sloughed me off like
when he didn't see nothing.
Yeah, it's like, man, I ain't gonna lose you. You know, you ain't nothing. He said it
drove fear.
Yeah, it was scary as heck.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it.
And he was a federal guy.
Yeah, now he is. Yeah, he was a sheriff at the time, and believe me, this guy gave me his office number, dude. I called his office, and it was like, dang, this dude's legit, and that's a credible witness, man. You know, I've had another guy on that's had a Bigfoot encounter who is now a judge. You know, that's a credible witness to me.
Yeah, it is.
You know what I'm saying? I think all these people are credible witnesses. When I'm listening to you, you sound like a credible witness to me. To me, you do. But when you have FBI type or sheriff type, judge type, I had an oncology surgeon one time come on and share a Bigfoot story. This is a guy who's a doctor who's a cancer surgeon, you know.
Yeah.
Why the heck would he come on and lie? You know what I'm saying?
Right.
It doesn't make sense. So there's credible people who have come on, and then to me, I think also the country folk are credible people because they've lived in the country. You know, depending on what you're talking about, you know, like Bigfoot, Dogman, stuff like that. To me, the country folk, the people out there hunting all the time and stuff like that, those are credible witnesses also. But it's every walk of life, man, that comes across these kind of things. And then the paranormal type stuff, you know, there's some things that are beyond anything you've ever thought. Like the horned things that you were running into. I've run across that stuff. I know that exists, you know. Hey, there ain't nothing more scary than a creature with horns.
Well, horns, right.
You know what I'm saying?
Horns.
There's something about them horns, man. It's like, oh, gosh.
I know, dude. It was so aggressive. The horns were so aggressive on this thing. They was like, if they continued to grow, they were going to grow inside this thing's skull, dude. I mean, that's how protruding these things was. I mean, it was like, you know, any inch longer, they'd be inside this thing's head. It kept growing. I'm thinking, God. You know.
The one I seen had the curled round horns that curled around like a ram, you know. That was, to me, and it came through the wall, but it grabbed a hold of me and picked me up on my tiptoes. And my sister walked in and saw it, you know. So it was like this thing. Yeah, I had a witness, you know. My sister, you know, she looked at it and said, you know, it's like, look, I seen the thing, man. It was holding on to you, and it was grabbing you and trying to pull you toward the wall.
Yeah.
You know. So, I mean, you can't dismiss that, because I was wanting to say I dreamed it or something. I really wanted to. I didn't want to admit it. It's like, no way, that didn't happen. I was trying to convince myself that it never happened. But she would never let me do it, because she's like, no, you can't blow that off. I saw it. Sorry, but, you know, it happened. You know, it's like,
I saw it.
It's like, dang. It's like, that sucks. You know? You know,
I kind of think what you're saying too. These things are all tied to the same. You know what I'm getting it to the same thing.
Yeah,
I thought about that too.
Yeah. The answers are there. That's why I do. That's why I do the mysteries from the biblical worldview. There are answers for these things, and there's different types of flesh. You know, because some people look, oh, I'm a flesh and blood person. I am too, if they are flesh and blood,
Right.
and a lot of Nephilim are
If
flesh
they
and
right.
blood. Yeah, even angelic beings have flesh. You think about
Yeah.
this: when Jesus was resurrected, he had his new body. His dead body was
Yep.
resurrected, and he went
Uh-huh.
into the upper room, and because Thomas said, "Unless I see him, I'm not going to believe it." He went in there with
Right.
this
Right.
body that
Right.
had been resurrected from the grave, and went in there
Yep.
to Thomas and said, "Thrust your hand in my side and see if I'm not
Yeah. Put
flesh
your,
and
yeah.
bone."
Right.
And Thomas touched him and seen he was real. And
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
and
It's
the thing
real.
was, is the rooms were locked. The Bible was clear about it. It's like
Uh-huh.
all the doors were locked. He walked through the walls and went in there and said, "Stick your hand in my side and see if I'm not flesh and bone."
Man.
So
Yeah.
don't tell
That's
me
deep
that something
there.
that walks through a wall can't be flesh. It is.
And be you right. You're right. It makes sense, man. That's deep there. You're right. Yeah.
Apostle Paul just said the glory is different.
Mhm.
They can vibrate in a different way, and they can walk through something that seems solid. But
Ah, right.
when you look at atoms, neutrons, protons,
Atoms, and
electrons,
they're moving all the time, even in steel. You're right.
yeah,
Even in steel, they're moving.
and if you take a proton and neutron and you hold them together, and you take the nearest electron that rotates around that nucleus.
Uh huh.
If you
Uh
take
huh.
a softball and hold it up right where you are right now, you go 2 blocks away and you hold up a golf ball. That's how
Uh
close
huh.
those particles really are.
Man,
And it spins around so
that's
fast it looks
crazy,
solid.
man.
Yeah, so
You right.
most
That's
things are mostly
man.
fluff. They're mostly nothing, you know,
Uh huh.
but they look solid. So
Right.
when someone says that a
Man.
solid object can't move, I talked to a German scientist one time when I first started this channel,
Huh.
and he was working on experiments in Germany. I forget what university he said it was, but they were passing solid objects through other solid objects through.
Hey, you know what? I believe that because the Germans was always ahead of us on that stuff, that science stuff, and
Right. Yeah.
space and all that, man.
They were doing it through harmonics, like sound. Somehow they were. I can't remember exactly how he explained it, but they were manipulating the stuff with vibrating it with sound waves. And when they would vibrate it to a certain frequency, they could move one solid object right through another solid object. And it was like it wouldn't touch it, because they would manipulate the vibration of it. And I believed him from what he was telling me, man.
Uh-huh.
I looked him up. At the time, it's been like 3 years ago, but he did work at a university like in Berlin or something. I can't remember now, but he was a scientist there, and he was wanting to talk to me about some things because he had watched that Hollow Earth Darrow videos that I had made.
Mm-hmm.
And and the one where the thing came through the wall and grabbed a hold of me.
Mm-hmm.
He was wanting to let me know. I was like, "Hey, I can tell you how that's possible for that to happen."
Yeah.
Very interesting.
Man, now I had a lot of weird dreams, man, about the beings that toward the end time of the inner world where everything's on fire, and these, man, I don't know what you call them. They could be like fallen angels, but there's like 2 or 3 of them, and man, they got this ungodly power, man. They take a horde of church people, man, and just put them against a building. They levitate this giant boulder and just smash them into the people, into it. These church people too, man, they were able to kill and all kind of stuff. And I had 3 dreams, man. Just have a dream, I wake up next morning and it will come true. And I start to lose my mind over this. Like, hey, this ain't possible. So I had this dream the next day. I was young at that time, smoking marijuana, and I had to go take the drug test, and I was worried about, what to drink to pass it. Then, next day, that would happen. So God was showing me. So the third dream I had, man, where in time, man, these angels, whatever you want to call these things, they was on earth, and they was sent here to just kill many of us if we can. And I remember they killed me, and I woke up in this empty, dark, empty space, man. Just say you call it like a floor or something, And I felt like as though I was a flea or an ant on that floor. And I heard this voice talking to me, and it was God. And he told me what I'm doing there, what I'm going to do, and the reason why this was going to happen to me. And he told me, he said, Charles, I'm going to take your firstborn kid from you. And, man, that right there, dude, little response to me. And I'm sitting there, just mad, but in awe, too, of this voice. And I know it's God. And I'm thinking, oh, man, no, I wake up next morning, man, and my mom, she's a real religious person. So she's the first person I saw, and I told her, I said, God told me he was going to take my son from me. And, man, my mom just turned her head. She didn't even want to look at me. She just started crying. So I went and told my girlfriend who I got the kid by. Oh, man, she went into hyperdrive or overdrive or something. Just, dude, the hate that I was getting from her folks, man. And I knew it was going to happen. And she just thought like, well, it ain't God. God ain't going to do that. Man, the next day it happened, Brett. I lost my son.
No way.
Yeah. And this is the weirdest thing. Now, I can remember being 15 years old in the country one day, and I wake up, my stomach hurting real bad, so I'm not going to school. But there's nobody in that house. My stepdad at work, and my mom's out at the grocery store. And I'm hearing this girl crying, just screaming top of her lungs, just calling me, just calling my name, Charles.
Wow.
And I woke up and I heard it. So I knew I wasn't dreaming. For 15 years, I always wondered what that was. But that was Joanne, the kid mom, when she found him dead in the crib, calling my name. I woke up to that same voice. I'm talking about 20 years later. And that was it, man. I woke up to that. And that's what that was.
Here's my opinion. Here's my opinion on that. Okay. I think God, instead of telling you he's going to take your kid, I think God would have warned you to pray for your kid. Okay. I think it was the enemy posed as God, because that doesn't fit how God would do something. Look, I've done this for a long time. You really got to believe me, man, on this, because God wouldn't do you that way. Not that way. Not saying God wouldn't take someone when it was time, but the way that happened, that would cause, and could cause you to be bitter. You know what I'm saying? God would be more likely to warn you to pray for your child. Right. You know what I'm saying? That's the way God
that makes sense.
The enemy would, knowing that he is going to take the kid or something because you're not living in a way that's where your child's under the covering and things like that. He might do that. It was
because of the way we were.
Yeah, God's good. God is good. All things work together for the good of those who love God and called according to his purpose.
He showed me another dream. That if I continued on that path, me, my brother, and my cousin was going to get shot by this gang. Right. We were going to get shot in the same car, all of us killed at the same time. and showed me how bad it was gonna hurt my family, my mom and stuff. So I had to distance myself. I learned from that, though. I had to distance myself from them because I knew what this next outcome could have led to. You know.
Yeah. You know, well, the moral of the story is go to God, and
Right.
you got to be perfect. You know what I'm saying? You can ask the
Right.
Lord to forgive you each day,
Right.
and
Right. Yeah,
help,
that's what I
and
do.
help. And if you're not able to be
Right.
perfect, ask Him to help you each day, and He will,
Right.
and He will protect you. You know. You've seen that He was protecting you when these one thing. I mean, it may have been a deception.
Oh man,
Because
yeah.
I've seen so many different kinds of deceptions over time.
I believe something was beside me that deterred that thing. Cause I'm here to tell you it was coming, Brent, and it gave. I got the message that it was gonna come and just rip my head off.
Right.
I mean, I got that loud and clear, dude.
And those Bigfoot type creatures do that, and they'll come and they'll just snatch your head right off.
For real?
Yeah, they can. Yeah, and I think that I don't think they can do that just to anyone, because I've had stories, man, where people encountered a Bigfoot and they prayed, just like, God, please don't let it hurt us, and that thing turned around and walked right off. Because I think that these things are cast out.
Right.
And you know, I think there's a couple different kinds. Some people call one type the Janoskwa, and they have the red glowing eyes and what have you. I think that's a supernatural type. And then there's this other type that's a Nephilim type that live here on the earth, just like, you know, Goliath did and Og did, and, you know, the ones in the scriptures. And those are physical creatures that live right here, but they still, you know, are if God can close the mouth of a lion in a lion's den for Daniel, then even if something is physical on this planet, He can shut their mouth. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And so, I'm not perfect, but God protects me, and I make all kinds of mistakes, man.
Right.
And believe me, if you needed to be perfect not to die, I'd be dead.
I guess, yeah.
But I believe and I trust, and I pray, and the Lord, some reason He protects me, and He works things out for my good, and I don't know why exactly, other than I just believe that He is who He says He is. You know, talking about Jesus, you know, Jesus is who He said He is, and I believe the Word of God, and I trust that God will somehow work it out, you know, for me, even when I'm not doing good. You know, even if I'm not perfect, or if I'm messing up or what have you. That's the best way I can explain it. Usually when I have these kind of stories, there's a battle going on. You can see in there.
Yeah.
And there's almost a deception battle being attempted by deceiving spirits. You know what I'm saying? That they're trying to they're trying to deceive you. So just don't be deceived by it. And you know, and that you know, you can always ask for wisdom. If you ask for wisdom, God gives it, upgrades not.
Right. Yep. How strong you think them things could be, those Bigfoot or Dogman?
Do what now?
How strong can they be, you think?
Oh, they're terribly strong. I had
like monkey strong.
I've had them push trees over when I was down at Delhala. Four different times push trees over that were like probably 8 inches. You know, I don't know if they were like perfectly alive trees or not, but they can push trees. They're like a dang dozer, man. they're huge and they're big and they're powerful. Monkeys are way stronger than people, pound for
Well,
pound,
yeah, you're right.
like 20
Way
times
stronger.
stronger. You know, like however strong you are,
Yeah.
pound for pound. If you get something that weighs 1 pound for every pound you are, it's 20
Oh,
times
yeah.
stronger.
You're
So if
right.
you get
Yeah,
something
that's
that weighs 10 times the amount you weigh, it's going to be
man,
unbelievably. I've heard of
right.
Bigfoots reaching
Big.
up and grabbing a tree that's 6 inches, 8 inches, and with
Man.
one hand is snapping it with one hand. You know,
Yeah.
and that's hugely powerful. I mean, no one. I don't know if they saw them do it exactly that way. Maybe they reached up there with another hand and pulled it down, but I don't know.
Yeah.
But they
Man.
snap them off like 10 foot above the ground. Snap it
But
off
why the
and
government
the
won't
tree are green.
admit that these things are out there? You
Yeah,
know, why the government won't admit that they're out there?
yeah. And I've got stories right now. I've got like 3 hours of interviews with these
Man.
this one family up in the northwest. I'll
Mm-hmm.
say 'cause they don't want to let people know who they are, but they've got pictures of the foot tracks and stuff like that coming around. And these
Yeah.
people thought it was, they thought people that believed in Bigfoot were crazy. But these folks
Hmm.
have basically experienced these things coming down into the area where they have all their equipment and stuff, turning
Yeah.
over big pieces of equipment, um,
Oh, man.
killing the guy has these dogs that he breeds, but these things would pick up like a
Killing all them.
dog and rip the head off of the dog, spine out, skin it basically.
Man.
Um, a crazy amount of stuff. Uh, Reached in the camper when he was sleeping in the camper. Reached in through the window of the camper and with one hand pushed down on him, broke 3 of his ribs, and snapped the
Oh,
bed that he was on. Snapped it, and he ended up in the floor. It was probably the only thing that saved his life. Um, I mean,
man.
they're just incredibly powerful beings. Almost tipped over a RV, a huge RV, like one of the big ones, and
Yeah.
they ended up high centering on this big rock. And they
Yeah.
got, he went down there and helped pull that vehicle off of that rock that they were high centered on. But it had dented um, uh, the trailer that they were pulling, because it was packing off like food and stuff like that, that
Man.
these people had out there. They were out there camping and stuff, but
Yeah.
Tipped over ice cream truck that this guy had on his property that was full of feed and seeds. They just push it right over,
Yeah.
I mean, they're
Man.
incredibly strong, man. So he seen a female, and he said the female was
Uh-huh.
very beautiful, looked more human, with real shiny
What?
fur. Yeah, he said it had real shiny coat on it. He said it was actually really it
Oh,
was beautiful. He said it had perky boobs and everything, man. It was kind of, he said, kind of,
yeah.
kind of pretty, you know. Not trying
Man,
to
that's
go all
crazy,
there, not
man. Right, I
bestiality,
ain't trying to go there
he
either.
was he was trying to be careful about how he said it, It was like,
Yeah,
she
he
was
said
smoking,
very.
dude, It's
I bet
like
that'd be
she was
funny, man.
hot. But he was trying to tell
Yeah.
you that she was actually humanoid looking, really built well. The
Mm-hmm.
the males were humongous, just gargantuan, unbelievable how big, and and they were very they were turning more and more aggressive and getting dangerous. And anyway, I've talked to him
Yeah.
three times. I'm supposed to do another interview with him,
Man.
and hopefully I can help them. You know, he was talking about it. I said, I think I could shoot one. I
Yeah.
was like, dude, don't even try it. You know,
Don't even. Oh
because
man, don't
there's
even try it.
one,
Yeah.
you'll shoot one, but
There's
you're
there's
gonna
more
have
than
more.
one.
Yeah, yeah. There's probably
And
several
I heard
more
them
that you're
things
not
come
ever
back.
seeing. You know, they're
They
gonna.
come back on you, man. And
Yeah, that'd be a
oh God.
mistake. You know, so and his wife agreed with that, and she
Right.
experienced these things. One of the big males coming to the camper one night, and it was sniffing. It
Man.
was sniffing them through the window. It was like, and
Oh
he said it
man.
was like huge sniffing, and it blocked the light out. And he said the windows on this camper were where it was coming around the camper. Um, it would have had to been like 8, 9 feet tall to block out the whole window, you know, and
Golly,
it would have
man.
had to been
That's
hugely
crazy,
wide. You
man.
know, he said, but when it come around the camper, and it blocked out the light from the whole window. And
Mm.
he had a shotgun beside them, and his wife was down there with him because they had had
Man.
been gone away or something at the time for a couple weeks, and she
Yeah.
came down there because he was guarding his property down there because people would come down there stealing copper. That's how it started. But as he was spending time down there, he was noticing these other things coming in there, and they weren't stealing the copper. You know, these were different things. They were stealing the feed and stuff like that. But they've documented a
Mm.
lot of it with footprints, the dog kills and stuff like that. And I don't know
Yeah.
what all they're going to give me, but I'm going to try to put it together and present it.
Like, yeah.
It's going to be a very interesting story,
Yeah.
man. Yeah. And there's a lot more to it than that.
Yeah.
Just people end up in the
I
hospital.
draw some of them. Yeah. I draw what I saw too, man. Those things in the bathroom, what they look like before and after, you know, that event. And I do that Dogman, you know.
Right.
I still got that, you know, fresh in my head, man. It's in there, you know. And I just couldn't believe what I was seeing. Like I said, I had nobody. Man, you tell that to anybody at the time, they'd be like, you crazy, you know. Ain't no such thing. Like I said, I finally found your site, and I saw that, man. I'm like, oh, man.
The people that watch this show, man, they're going to believe you. Now, I called you on the show's phone, so this all recorded. Are you cool with me?
Oh, okay.
Are you cool with me?
Yeah, I'm cool with that. Yeah.
We've only called you Charlie at this point, or Charles. I haven't said your last name or anything like that.
Yeah,
so
cool.
If you're cool with this airing, you're going to have a lot of people believe that. And there's going to be a lot of people that are praying for you, a lot of people that will say, hey, I'm there for you.
Yeah.
I've got a super cool fan.
The
fans on this.
It feels good to get it off my chest, though, man.
Yeah. And you're going to help other people, too, because there's other people that experience this kind of stuff. That, they're going to be like, thank you for sharing. You're going to see how many times people say thank you for sharing in the comments.
Yeah.
Because it helps them. I'm serious.
I'm telling you, dude, I got that message loud and clear from that thing. It actually, what I got of it was, it was going to pull my head off my shoulders. That's what I got out of it. You know.
Right.
Like I said, it shorted my brain out from hearing that noise, and when that ground shook, oh man, my brain went somewhere else, dude. It just,
Yeah, I tried not to intervene too much as you're telling your story this time. I just wanted you to be able to tell it. And, you know, and without me asking a whole lot of stuff, it's like, oh, just tell your story.
Right, yeah.
People can listen and they can make up their mind on what they think is going on and stuff like that. And there's some people might think a little something different going on than what I think. Then that's okay, but they're going to believe you. Most people are going to believe you. You come off as very honest, in my opinion. You do. So, anyway, I appreciate you sharing.
Yeah.
We'll talk some more, man.
I'll get them pictures, and we'll talk some more. I'll get them drawings out to you.
Yeah, get those out to me. And
Yeah,
if this goes out before you get those to me, then we'll do a follow up and we'll show the pictures.
yeah.
Um,
Okay.
so if you
All right, that works.
hold on the line there for a second. Thank
Okay.
everybody out there in YouTube land. Thank you for listening. If anyone out there has a story they would like to share here on the show, you can send it to me at brentonson@gmail.com. If you want to contribute to help me with this show, after the first of the year, contributions are very much appreciated, and I appreciate everyone who has ever tried to help me to be successful with this venture, and it has helped many, many people. So you can go to a link in the description, PayPal me, and make a contribution there if that's what you want to do. And next time, I want to try to bring you this story from Utah. It may be, a couple different stories come up before that, but it's going to be very soon. I can't wait to bring that to you. And basically, from there, I want to say Happy New Year to everyone. God bless, and I'll see you all on the next video. Bye.